You're welcome back to our YouTube channel. The war in Ukraine and Russia, between Ukraine and Russia, um, is currently raging, and it's been over a year. And the world really thinks it's going to end as soon as possible, but events unfolding appears to sort of make it look like it's still going to hold for a long time. Now we're going to talk about the ICC arrest warrant on Vladimir Putin, who is the president of Russia. Recently, the ICC, International Criminal Court, um, gave an arrest warrant on Vladimir Putin. Now, what does this really mean? Vladimir Putin is the president of a sovereign nation, Russia, a world power. Now, what's the effect of the arrest warrant on Vladimir Putin by the ICC? Now, first of all, the arrest warrant wasn't just placed on Vladimir Putin alone, it was also granted for the arrest of Maria Alexeyevna Belova. I'm not Russian, so pardon my pronunciation. She's the commissioner for child rights. Lots of children in Ukraine were deported or taken over to Russia, and that amounts to war crime under the Rome Statute. It's on the basis of that the arrest warrant was issued. Now, forced deportation of populations is recognized as a crime under the Rome Statute that established the ICC. Russia was actually a signatory to the Rome Statute, but in 2016, it's opted out of the it's opted out of the ICC, so it stopped being a member nation of the ICC. So it's no longer bound by the rules of the ICC. Now, it opted out, saying it did not recognize the jurisdiction of the court. On the other hand, Ukraine is not a signatory to the court. It, however, granted the ICC jurisdiction to investigate war crimes committed on its territory. So 4 visits by the ICC's chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, over the past year have led to a ruling that there are actually reasonable grounds to believe that Putin bears individual criminal responsibility for the child abductions. Very serious. Now, you can see Putin in the video addressing military heads and military chiefs in Russia. Perhaps the child abduction is a strategy for the Russian side in this war. But actually, in the Rome Statute, under the Rome Statute, it's a crime. And on the basis of that, the court has ordered that that Vladimir Putin be arrested whenever that is possible. But in reality, what does this really mean? Because Russia does not recognize the court and does not extradite its citizens, it's highly unlikely that Putin or the Commissioner for Children's Rights will be surrendered to the court's jurisdiction anytime soon. Because what the court is actually saying is, wherever you find Putin and the Commissioner, bring them over to the court for them to face charges of war crimes. All right? So that's what the court is really about. These countries, Russia most particularly, is not a signatory. So it is very unlikely that they would Vladimir Putin will be arrested. Now, issuing the warrant remains a highly significant moment for a number of reasons. Number one, it sends a strong signal to Russian senior officials. Number two, if a new leader comes up in Russia who is not a fan of Vladimir Putin, he may perhaps order that the arrest warrant be obeyed. All right, and that may lead to, maybe for political reasons, and that may lead to Putin being made to surrender to the jurisdiction of the ICC. Now, what one would think is that 7 heads of state, 7 heads of government enjoy immunity, but the ICC does not recognize immunity for heads of state in cases involving war crimes, crimes against humanity, or genocide. In an important precedent, it's actually a precedent. South Africa declined to enforce an ICC warrant for the arrest of the Sudanese dictator Omar al-Bashir during a visit in 2015. Now, the argument of South Africa was that it saw no duty under international law and the Rome Statute to arrest a serving head of state of an ICC non-state party, such as Omar al-Bashir. At the time, Sudan was not a member state of the ICC, so it wasn't a signatory to the Rome Statute. So, of course, South Africa was saying we cannot arrest someone who heads a country that is not a signatory to the Rome Statute. All right? So, similarly, I mean, there was a Chilean leader called Augusto Pinochet in London in 1998. An arrest warrant was actually issued on him, but he wasn't arrested because at the time Chile wasn't a signatory to the Rome Statute. So now, as we speak, Russia is not a member. It's not a treaty or a signatory, sorry, to the Rome Statute. So it is very unlikely that for any reason he would be arrested if he steps his feet into the country, a country that is a signatory to the Rome Statute. Right. So these are some. Now, what are some of the things that are likely to happen if Vladimir Putin should visit a country, let's say the UK? It is very unlikely that the UK, which is very unlikely now because there's tension between the UK and Russia, so it is very unlikely that Vladimir Putin would visit the UK. But let's, for hypothetical purposes, let's imagine Vladimir Putin visits the UK. The UK is a signatory to the Rome Statute. Russia is not a signatory to the Rome Statute. There's now an arrest warrant on the president of Russia. It is very unlikely, looking at the precedents we've considered from the Sudanese case, this Chilean case, it is very unlikely that that member state of the ICC, the signatory to the Rome Statute, would arrest or effect the arrest of Vladimir Putin. But this is a very strong warning to the president, because at the end of his tenure, the new leader of Russia may just honor that warrant. Please subscribe.